Hello, as always, I am Cosmic, and welcome to another episode of Mailhub, your lovely dose of gaming opinions. And the first question comes in from James, who says, Cosmic, what are your thoughts on the recent Star Citizen controversy? Do you think the allegations against Cloud Imperium are true? Well, this has been possibly one of the most talked about things this week, ever since the original article was posted on the Escapist. There was a lot of allegations in that article. Obviously, all the sources were anonymous, and it's been an interesting watch to see the back and forth between the Escapist and Cloud Imperium. Now, what do I think on them? Do I think they're true? I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult one. It raises the interesting question of, once again, journalistic ethics. Because in Cloud Imperium's response, they talked about, you didn't vet your sources correctly. You didn't give us time to answer the allegations. You didn't even mention some of the allegations against Chris Roberts' wife. There was allegations of racism and discriminatory employment practices and all that kind of thing, and it was all a bit of a giant mess. I'm of the opinion that it was the Escapists' right to post the story. I don't think that they should not have posted the story. I think that at the end of the day, several sources came to them, they spoke to them, they vetted them, possibly not as well as they could have, but they did vet them in some form, and they went with the story. Now, whether the response did indeed go into the spam folder like the Escapist editor said, who knows? But it's one of those things that I think that they could have done a better job with it. I think that it was right to post the story. It was right to post the allegations and what the sources had stated. However, I think they should have done a little bit more of due process, a little bit more vetting. I think that they should have really gave Cloud Imperium the chance to provide evidence disproving the claims and the allegations, and then they could have gone forward and posted a story about, this is what the allegations were, and this is the official response to that specific allegation. Here's the evidence provided by one side, here's the evidence provided by another. That wasn't the case, that's not what happened, and now Cloud Imperium are going to be involved in legal action to take the article down because they say, we've got the evidence to prove that this is false. Cloud Imperium have also stated that all of the sources actually know each other. They're all former disgruntled employees, and that they all socialize together. So that they're basically saying that, what you didn't think that these people could get together on a night out and conduct a lie and then all go forward separately. I mean, and that's essentially what they've said they've done. They've colluded together and then went forward and, told lies. And then the Escapist has run with it. And, it was interesting, the statement that Cloud Imperium put forward, that they actually went in and basically called the Escapist an unreputable website, and they basically said that you didn't do what you were supposed to do, your journalism ethics are poor at best, and they should be ashamed of themselves essentially. I mean, it is one of those things. I can see both sides of it. I can see the journalistic standpoint where, you're in a situation where several sources have come forward. They seem to be legitimate from what you can see, and you want to run with the story. Why wouldn't you run? Why wouldn't you want to run with that story? It's a very, very clickable story, let's say the least. But it's also a very important story. You're talking about the misuse of funds. You're talking about essentially people breaking the law, breaking federal law, and talking about racism at high levels of the company. You're talking about essentially fraud, because you're talking about essentially the use of Kickstarter funds for private jets and things like that. So it's an important story to look into, and it's an important story to post. But I also see the other side of it, of where they're basically saying, look, you haven't given us ample time to respond. You haven't given us the opportunity to respond. You have basically ran with the story before we were able to put forward our evidence, put forward our side of the story, and essentially what you've done is defamatory. And in some cases, if it turns out to be Cloud Imperium is completely correct and none of those allegations are true, and it was a lie conducted by several individuals, that's the case. You've essentially made them out to be something that they're completely not. you have tarnished their reputation, particularly that of Chris Roberts, who is the most notable person of Cloud Imperium. You've tarnished his reputation, and especially his wife's reputation, because it was always interesting how a lot of the sources specifically targeted the wife rather than Chris Roberts himself. It was all about HR practices, etc., etc. And that kind of thing, while, a statement of apology after the fact is, all well and good, it doesn't change the fact that some people will read that and their perception of Cloud Imperium, of Star Citizen, will possibly be irreparably changed. So that kind of thing is exceedingly important, and it needs to be taken with due care. And I think that there are holes in the Escapists' processes, and it's definitely something that needs to be looked into. But as I say, I think they certainly should have run with the story, because it's what I would have done. But at the same time, I would have also vetted my sources more carefully and went into more detail and gave someone the opportunity to properly respond and, defend themselves, because that is also important. It's innocent until proven guilty, not let's just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. So that's my opinion on that. I think that it could have been handled a lot better, but it was something that needed to be discussed either way, clearly. And only time will tell to see where this goes, because obviously legal proceedings are pending, so we will see where that goes. The second question comes in from Anthony, who says, Dear Cosmic, I wanted to hear your opinions on the recent Microsoft acquisition in acquiring the Havok engine. Do you think that this will affect Sony, as many PlayStation games are developed using the Havok engine? In truth, the short answer is no, it won't. And the reason is this. One, Microsoft have stated that it won't. They will still conduct business as usual with Havok, and they will still, license out to third-party vendors, including Sony and its partners. And the fact is that acquisitions like this, especially just because Microsoft owns Xbox and Sony owns PlayStation, if there's money to be made in working together, companies will do that. At the end of the day, it isn't about getting, burying Sony or Sony burying Microsoft. It's about making as much money as you can. And in this case, there would be no profit in Microsoft spending a ton of money to acquire Havok and then putting it on a shelf, because that's wasted money. They want to acquire Havok and then sell it out and license it out. And if Sony has to pay Microsoft for using Havok, even better, because you're taking money directly from your competitor. So when it comes to things like that, people need to be aware that it's business first and it's not personal for these people. And, it's never personal for businessmen. It's all about the money. And if there's money to be made working with or against a company, that's what will happen. And that's all the questions that we have for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Do send in more questions to mailhub@cosmicengine.net. Share your thoughts and opinions with me, and I will see you next time.